My phone screen casts a pale blue glow on my face. Just family this year, Jessica's post. 8 smiling faces on Instagram, gathered around Mom's antique dining table. The table I helped refinish last spring. And then I notice it. Grandma's crystal punch bowl sitting center stage on the table. My vintage lace tablecloth. My cranberry sauce. Looking back, all the signs were there on Thanksgiving night. Elaine is always too perfect. Mom's tired voice drifted from the kitchen. I was doing dishes, as always. Whatever we do, her way ends up being right. Why don't we try it just us this year? Jessica's voice. She needs a break too. Back then, everything was already decided. And now, my hands are shaking. I race up the stairs to the attic. Christmas decorations, written in my careful handwriting on the label, mockingly stuck to the edge of the box. I lift the lid. Empty. My knees hit the floor. I open another box. Empty again. The third. The fourth. After Thanksgiving, Jessica said, just borrowing this for a bit. Mom asked to borrow the decorations for a spring wedding. And this year, opening the boxes for the first time, I'm stunned. 8 years worth of Christmas Eve dinner decorations, taken gradually, deliberately. Looking forward to Christmas Eve at our house again this year. My message from 2 weeks ago sits in the family group chat. Blue bubble with read receipts from everyone. No responses. I can't get up, staring at the empty boxes. The phone rings downstairs. Probably Mom. But now, in this moment, I understand everything. For 8 years, I've been the backbone of our family Christmas. And tonight, they're enjoying Christmas Eve dinner without me. Using my decorations. I sip my wine and remember the signs I chose to ignore. Mom's vague, "We'll see about the extra turkey," when I mentioned shopping. Jessica's sudden fascination with Grandma's old ornaments, the ones I carefully wrap in tissue paper every January. Andrew's odd question last Sunday. "You've been hosting forever, sis. Don't you need a break?" Dad's comment about changing things up echoes in my mind. The family chat going silent when I asked about arrival times. The puzzle pieces slot together like a puzzle I never wanted to solve. My hands move on autopilot, opening my photo gallery. 8 years of Christmas Eve scroll past. Last year, Andrew's boys sprawled on my floor, wrapping paper everywhere. Jessica announcing her promotion over dessert. Mom and Dad slow dancing by the tree after everyone else had gone to bed. The phone slips from my fingers onto the couch. My feet carry me upstairs to the attic, each step heavier than the last. The boxes labeled Christmas decorations in my careful handwriting sit exactly where they always do. Except they're empty. Not just the tablecloth. The vintage ornaments, the punch bowl, the special serving platters, borrowed, never returned. My thumb hovers over Mom's contact photo. I send only Grandma a brief message. Going away for a while. Don't worry. The call connects. Mom's phone rings once, twice, straight to voicemail. I try again. Voicemail. A third time. The same artificial chirp of her automated greeting. The tears come slowly at first, then in a rush that burns my cheeks. My reflection in the attic window shows a woman I barely recognize, mascara streaming down her face. But something else catches in my throat, rises in my chest. Laughter. Sharp and unexpected. 8 years of Christmas Eve dinners. 8 years of making sure everyone's favorite dishes appeared on the table. 8 years of remembering that Andrew's oldest is allergic to walnuts, that Jessica needs gluten-free options, that Dad's blood pressure means watching the salt. 8 years of being the reliable one, the responsible one, the one who makes everything perfect. I stand up straight, my reflection sharpening in the window. The Christmas lights from my half-decorated tree downstairs cast colorful shadows across my face. 8 years of carrying everyone's expectations, their comfort, their traditions. Now my feet move with purpose. Down to my bedroom. The suitcase under my bed slides out easily, the good one. The one I bought for a European trip I canceled when Jessica needed help planning her wedding. My phone buzzes. The family group chat explodes with messages. Where are you? The turkey's overcooked. Mom's upset. Are you okay? This isn't like you, Elaine. My fingers type out a message. Enjoy your Christmas. I've decided to enjoy mine. The delete button glows beneath my thumb. 8 years of trying to make everyone happy. 8 years of putting myself last. Instead, I open my laptop. The travel website loads bright and inviting. New Orleans. One-way ticket. Christmas morning arrival. For the first time in 8 years, I choose myself. My suitcase lies open on the bed, a blank canvas waiting to be filled. For once, I don't reach for the beige sweater or practical black slacks. Instead, my hands find the crimson blouse I bought 3 months ago, tag still attached. The emerald silk pants my sister called too bold. The golden scarf I never dared to wear. Behind me, the Christmas tree blinks, casting kaleidoscope shadows across my bedroom walls. Red, green, gold, colors I've denied myself, always afraid of taking up too much space. My phone buzzes on the nightstand. Another family message. I don't look. Instead, I fold each bright piece with precision, building a rainbow of rebellion in my luggage. No more invisible clothes for invisible Elaine. The Uber app confirms my ride. 20 minutes. Time enough to write a note if I wanted to. Time enough to call Mom and smooth things over, like I always do. My fingers hover over the phone. The muscle memory of a lifetime of making peace. But peace at what price? I zip the suitcase with finality. The Christmas tree lights reflect in my bedroom mirror, catching my eye. The woman staring back looks different already. Spine straighter, chin higher. I turn off the lights and leave the room with my baggage. I wait for the Uber in the kitchen. I leave my phone on the kitchen counter. When the Uber arrives, we head to the airport. Christmas Eve at the airport splits people into 2 tribes, the frantic and the serene. Parents wrestling with overstuffed bags, children crying over dropped candy canes, teenagers rolling their eyes at both. But here I am, walking against the tide of holiday chaos. Calm in my crimson blouse and quiet certainty. Solo Christmas trip? The desk agent's smile holds no pity, just warm curiosity as she checks my ID. Yes, the word comes out stronger than I expect. She types, then looks up with a conspiratorial wink. Premium economy just had a cancellation. Merry Christmas. The upgrade feels like a sign. Or maybe just the first gift I've received this season that doesn't come with strings attached. An hour later, the couple next to me settles in with a comfortable synchronization of decades together. The woman, silver hair elegantly coiffed, notices my hands clenched in my lap first. First time flying alone on Christmas? She pulls a flask from her purse. Bourbon. I laugh, surprising myself. Is it that obvious? My dear, I've spent enough holidays alone to recognize the look. She pours a splash into my ginger ale. But you know what? Those turned out to be some of my favorite Christmases. And Catherine, this is Robert. We're headed to our favorite city, Elaine. I sip the spiked ginger ale, warmth spreading through my chest. And New Orleans is new for me. Oh, you must join us for beignets tomorrow morning. Catherine pats my hand. No one should eat alone on Christmas. Robert nods sagely. Unless they want to. That's the beauty of New Orleans. You can be alone or surrounded, and nobody judges either way. The flight attendant passes, slipping me an extra cookie with a knowing smile. Sometimes family isn't who you expect. A woman across the aisle leans over. I couldn't help overhearing. Left my toxic family 20 years ago. Best gift I ever gave myself. She straightens her elegant blazer. They'll either learn to value you or they won't. But you'll learn to value yourself. That's what matters. The bourbon loosens something in my chest. Memories float up like bubbles in champagne. Andrew's annual, you make it look so easy, sis, while watching football instead of helping. Jessica arriving empty-handed to every holiday, but leaving with carefully packed leftovers and my good Tupperware. Never returned. Dad praising my turkey by comparing it to Mom's before she lost her touch. The pattern's so clear now. When was the last time anyone asked about my life, my dreams, my needs? I nod somewhat embarrassedly and fall asleep 15 minutes later. The stewardess's voice and the view brought me back to reality from my sleep. The plane descends as Christmas morning dawns over New Orleans. 20 minutes later, warm air hits my face as I exit the terminal. So different from Connecticut's bitter cold. No snow here, but the air shimmers with possibility. I take a cab and arrive at the hotel half an hour later. My hotel rises from the French Quarter like a grand dame dressed in wrought iron lace. White Christmas lights drape the balconies, dancing in the morning breeze. Simple, elegant. Nothing like my own overwrought decorations back home. Merry Christmas, Miss Elaine. The desk clerk's smile reaches her eyes. You're exactly where you should be. My throat tightens at her words. She hands me a room key with a small wrapped package attached. Welcome to New Orleans. We take care of our own here. The tears finally come as I unwrap a delicate silver fleur-de-lis ornament. Not the harsh sobs of last night's betrayal, but gentle drops of release. Later, I skip the hotel's offered car service. These streets deserve to be walked, claimed at my own pace. A vendor sells bright scarves from a cart on the corner, calling out "Good morning, Queen" as I pass. I stop, fingering the crimson silk, the same color as my blouse. This one has your name on it, he says, draping it around my shoulders. The mirror he holds up shows a woman I barely recognize. Head high, shoulders back. A queen indeed. Café du Monde appears like a mirage through the morning mist. For the first time in my adult life, I sit alone at a cafe table without pulling out my phone, without a book for cover, without apology. What can I get you, darling? The waitress's pen hovers over her pad. Everything I want. I answer and mean it. 30 minutes later, as I savor the last sugary bite of beignet, my phone buzzes in my purse. Checking it, 5 missed calls in the hours since departure. 15 by the end of the first day. 27 missed calls by the second morning. A string of voicemails from Mom, their tone shifting from confusion to alarm to anger. A text from Jessica. Where are you.the food is terrible and Dad's having a fit. Andrew's message lands like a brick. Are you having some kind of breakdown? They're not worried about me, I realize. They're worried about their ruined Christmas, about the tasks left undone, the roles left unfilled, about the empty space where reliable Elaine should be, smoothing feathers and filling gaps. I pay the bill, stroll around the city a bit longer, and go back to the hotel later that evening. That evening, jazz from Jackson Square floats up to my hotel balcony as evening falls. Christmas lights twinkle below, a constellation of earthbound stars. My thumb hovers over the block contact button next to the family group chat. A new message appears from Grandma. They don't know what they've done, do they? Be well, my girl. The French Quarter glows golden in the fading light. In that moment, I understand. The betrayal wasn't just about Christmas. It was about seeing my true value for the first time. The next morning, after Christmas breakfast, I want to visit the cathedral. The bells of St. Louis Cathedral ring through the crisp morning air, their song mingling with a jazz rendition of Silent Night floating up from Jackson Square. My first Christmas morning alone stretches before me like an unwritten page. Royal Street sparkles with simple white lights strung between wrought iron balconies. No inflatable Santas, no synchronized music shows. Just the quiet dignity of a city that knows its own worth. A trumpeter on the corner catches my eye and tips his hat, his horn gleaming in the early sunlight. The familiar carol transforms into something new in his hands, each note carrying the weight of generations. My feet carry me toward the cathedral doors without conscious thought. Inside, the air hangs heavy with incense and history. No one here knows I should be in Connecticut orchestrating the perfect family breakfast. No one knows I'm the daughter who always remembers everyone's dietary restrictions, the sister who never forgets a birthday, the aunt who coordinates all the presents. Here, I'm just another soul seeking sanctuary on Christmas morning. Welcome, child. An elderly usher presses a program into my hand, her smile warm and uncomplicated. No questions about why I'm alone. No pitying glances. Just welcome. The wooden pew creaks as I sit. For the first time in 8 years, I don't have to worry about saving seats, managing personalities, or mediating tensions. The freedom of anonymity wraps around me like a blanket. First time in New Orleans? The whisper comes from my left, where a woman about my mother's age sits clutching a well-worn prayer book. Her silver hair catches the light from the stained glass windows. Is it that obvious? The words slip out before I can stop them. Only because you're actually listening to the music instead of treating it like background noise. She extends her hand. I'm Martha. My kids are at their in-laws' this year. Elaine. The name feels different here. Lighter somehow. I'm taking a different approach to Christmas this year. Martha's knowing smile tells me she hears everything I'm not saying. Best decision I ever made was spending Christmas in New Orleans 10 years ago. Sometimes you have to break tradition to find yourself. Martha's deep dialogue. Drawing boundaries isn't rejecting love. Martha says on the sunset-painted balcony. It's making love sustainable. You can't draw water from a dried well, can you? Her hand covers mine. I cooked for everyone for 40 years, forgot what I even liked. But you know what? When I started taking care of myself, they started taking care of me too. Martha's words resonate in my chest. Boundaries don't destroy love, they protect it. The next day at cooking class, steam rises from the roux as I move my wrist in the figure 8 motion Chef Antoine demonstrated. The familiar scent of butter and flour transforms into something richer, darker, like my mother's gravy, but with possibilities I'd never considered. Stop. Chef Antoine's voice carries across the kitchen. Sherry, look at what you've done. My spoon freezes mid-motion. The roux has turned the color of copper pennies, deep and complex. This roux is beautiful. He examines my work. But why do you look so surprised when you make beautiful things? I've always cooked for other people, I answer. Ah, Chef Antoine nods. First time you make something beautiful for yourself. Perfect instinct. A laugh bubbles up from somewhere deep inside me. Something real and bright that echoes off the steel countertops. I met Martha after class was over. Her voice carried from the next station. Their holiday crew, as Martha called their little group, had fallen into an evening ritual in the hotel's courtyard. 4 women who'd chosen solitude over obligation this Christmas, sharing one simple truth each night, something they'd done purely for themselves that day. The French Quarter had wrapped itself around me like a familiar shawl. Shop owners nodded as I passed, calling out greetings. Morning, Miss Elaine from the coffee shop owner. Those earrings suit you, from the antique dealer who'd sold them to me yesterday. My phone buzzes. Jessica's name lights up the screen with a voicemail notification. My finger hovers over the delete button, but Chef Antoine's words about instinct echo in my mind. I press play. It's been awful without you. Jessica's voice cracks. The turkey was so dry. Nobody remembered which presents went to which kids. Mom keeps crying in the bathroom. I didn't know. I never realized how much you actually did. 3 more messages follow. My mother confessing the green bean casserole had burned. My father's gruff attempt at reconciliation. Honey, your sister just doesn't have your touch. Andrew admitting his boys had fought over dessert. No one knowing how to mediate like I always did. A text from Grandma makes me smile. They're learning what you actually did all these years. About time. The next day at class, the copper-colored roux bubbles, demanding attention. I add the trinity of vegetables, the sharp knife work I'd learned in yesterday's class, making quick work of onions, celery, and bell peppers. No tears this time. Another small victory. That evening, in my room, when my phone displays Grandma's familiar contact photo, I answer on the first ring. You sound different, Grandma says instead of hello. I am different. Good. Now tell me what you need to say. The words come easier than I expected. It wasn't about the party. They could have asked me, talk to me. Instead, they just took, like always. They took me for granted because I let them. Grandma's voice holds no judgment, only understanding. Sometimes love needs teeth, sweetheart. I touch Grandma's brooch pinned to my blouse. Grandma's Christmas gift. I'm not ready to talk to them yet. Then don't. And she hangs up. My phone chimes with a group message. Jessica again. We're booking flights to New Orleans. All of us. We'll make it right. My fingers move across the screen, typing with a certainty that surprises me. I'll see you when I return as planned. But please respect this time. Jessica's response comes instantly. But we want to make it up to you. This time mine. Please respect that. The silence that follows feels like victory. Walking past a shop window later that night, I catch my reflection and stop. The woman looking back stands straighter, her shoulders relaxed instead of braced for everyone else's burdens. You've changed. The street artist who'd sketched me last week nods toward his easel. Look. 2 sketches sit side by side. The first shows a woman wound tight as a spring, smile careful, eyes searching for approval. The second, today's, captures something else. Something free. I'll take them both, I say, reaching for my wallet. That evening, curled in the hotel's wrought iron chair, I open my laptop. The confirmation for my Easter flight to Santa Fe next year appears in my inbox. Another family gathering I'd always organized. Not again. My journal lies open beside me, pages filled with clear, firm boundaries. Gifts freely given, not taken for granted. I write in careful letters. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzes with my return flight confirmation. 2 days until I face my old life with my new boundaries. Martha's words from dinner echo in my mind. Remember, you are the one who sets the price of admission to your life. I rearrange my suitcase, suddenly aware of how different its contents are. Bright colors instead of neutral peacekeeping clothes. Cookbooks bought for pleasure instead of service. The twin sketches carefully wrapped in tissue paper. As I zip it shut, a question surfaces. Would I even fit back into the life I'd left behind? The answer, I realize, doesn't matter. That life would have to expand to fit me now. The morning sun filtered through wrought iron as I stood on my final New Orleans balcony, watching the city wake. My journal lay open beside a half-empty coffee cup, its pages filled with 8 years of revelation. 8 years of carrying everyone's expectations. 8 years of making myself smaller to make room for their comfort. Martha's number glowed in my contacts under Real Family, while Grandma's brooch caught the light from where I'd pinned it to my new red scarf. The metal felt warm against my collarbone, a constant reminder of her message. Freedom looks good on you. I call a taxi. The driver arrives 10 minutes later and helps put my baggage in the trunk. Going home, ma'am? The driver glances at me in the rearview mirror as we pull away from the French Quarter. I meet his eyes, surprised by the steadiness in my own reflection. Something like that. During the flight, I fall asleep, and when the stewardess's voice gently woke me up, we were ready to land. I collect my luggage, arrange the Uber, and head back home. My house stands exactly as I'd left it when I returned, a museum of the moment everything changed. Half-hung garland drapes the banister. The dining room table remains set for 8, fine china gathering dust. Platters of spoiled food marking time like a clock stopped at the moment of impact. 3 gift baskets crowd my front porch, their cellophane wrapping rustling in the winter wind. Apology offerings wrapped in plastic and ribbon. I leave them where they sit. They came by every day looking for you. Mrs. Chen next door waters her winter pansies, her voice carefully neutral. Your mother cried on Tuesday. I nod, fitting my key into the lock. The door closes behind me with a satisfying click, sealing me inside my quiet space. I have exactly 47 minutes to shower and change before they arrive. Mother's text had warned me they were coming whether I wanted them or not. They show up 10 minutes early. Mother clutches her famous reconciliation casserole, the one she always makes after major family fights. Layers of pasta and cheese designed to smother hurt feelings under comfort food. Jessica's eyes are red and swollen, though I notice her mascara remains perfectly applied. Andrew stands slightly behind them, hands shoved in his pockets, while Dad lingers by the car as if unsure of his welcome. I open the door wider. "Come in." The words come out calmer than I expect. "But I won't be serving anything." Mother's steps falter at the dining room threshold. The abandoned holiday table stands as a silent witness, each empty chair an accusation. Jessica's hand flies to her mouth. "We were so worried." Jessica's voice wavers with practiced precision. "Nobody knew where you'd gone. You weren't answering your phone." She continues, "Andrew thought we thought you'd had some kind of breakdown." Andrew clears his throat, but his voice lacks conviction. "Look, sis, I understand you're upset, but..." His eyes avoid the empty chairs at the dining table. "But you always seemed happy to do it. You said you were fine." I pull my journal from my bag, its pages dog-eared and marked with color tabs. "That's what you all assumed, wasn't it?" That steady, reliable Elaine had finally cracked under the pressure. None of you noticed what she was carrying. I opened to the first marked page. 8 years of coordinating everyone's schedules. 8 years of remembering that Andrew's boys can't have walnuts, that Jessica needs gluten-free options, that Dad's blood pressure means watching the salt. I flipped to another tab. 8 years of storing decorations, updating recipes, buying backup presents just in case someone brought an unexpected guest. My voice remains steady as I read each notation. Years of unspoken resentment distilled into neat lists and bullet points and dates. The room grows heavier with each turned page. I don't need an apology. I close the journal, meeting each of their eyes in turn. "I need change." Mother sets her casserole on the coffee table, her hands twisting her wedding ring. "Sweetheart, we never meant. I'll host when I choose to, not by default. Assumptions are no longer acceptable. I give what I receive. My time and effort are valuable. Treat them that way." I touch Grandma's brooch, drawing strength from its familiar weight. "I love you all, but I love myself too." The silence stretches until Jessica's perfect mascara finally smears with real tears. "I wanted to be like you," she whispers. "Not replace you. You make everything look so easy, so perfect." I thought, if I could do Christmas like you did. You figured out pretty quickly it wasn't that simple, didn't you? The question holds no bitterness, only curiosity. The turkey was raw in the middle. Jessica sinks onto my couch. "Nobody could find the right presents because you usually label everything. Half the decorations didn't make sense because you know where all the special pieces go." She looks up, makeup streaking her cheeks. "How do you do it every year?" She shouldn't have to. Suddenly, the voice comes from my front door, where Grandma stands framed in winter sunlight. My support, the only support all this time. She winks at me, her own ancient brooch glinting at her collar. Elaine hosted for 8 years. Mother's hand flies to her throat. Dad's shoes stop squeaking. Andrew's posture shifts from concerned older brother to chastised grandson in the space of a heartbeat. "I think the rest of you can manage the next 8. After Grandma's words, Andrew's face goes pale. "The boys kept asking, 'Where's Aunt Elaine?'" His voice shakes. "That's when I first realized how much you were doing." "I'll take next Christmas." Jessica straightens, wiping her eyes. "With Elaine as my guest of honor. I'll even label the presents properly this time. We didn't know how much work it was until it fell apart." Mother's voice cracks. She reaches for the casserole, then stops herself. Mother continues, "None of us knew. We just assumed." That's the problem, isn't it? Grandma settles into my favorite armchair, her eyes sharp as she surveys her gathered children and grandchildren. "All that assuming, all that taking. Never thought to look at what you were using up, did you?" The family that had celebrated without me now couldn't imagine celebrating without appreciating me. I touch Grandma's brooch again, feeling its warmth spread through my fingers. The next gathering would be different. They would be different, slowly adjusting to my new conditions, or there wouldn't be gatherings at all. I set my boundaries. They respected them. Slowly adjusting to my new conditions. Things were much better after a year. The following Christmas. Outside, snow falls quietly. This time last year, I was eating beignets under the warm morning sun of New Orleans. The seasons have come full circle, and so have I, but I haven't returned to the same place. A year later, the smell of roasting turkey wafts through Elaine's kitchen, but for the first time, she isn't the one checking the oven. Her mother and Jessica work in tandem at the counter, their matching aprons spotted with cranberry sauce. Through the doorway, Andrew's voice rings out from the living room, where he leads his kids in a rousing game of charades instead of watching football on the couch. Elaine lifts her wine glass and catches her reflection in the window. The woman staring back wears Grandma's brooch on a jewel-toned blue. No more hiding in beige and gray. A year ago, she sat alone in the same spot, scrolling through Betrayal on her phone. Now her father walks past carrying a tray of glasses, his sleeves rolled up, actually serving instead of being served. Don't even think about helping, Martha calls from her perch at the kitchen island. Her presence feels right here, as if she's always belonged. You've done enough hosting for one lifetime. I still can't believe how you spice these. Jessica looks up from the sweet potatoes, her hands coated in brown sugar and butter. The recipe you brought back from that New Orleans cooking class changed everything. I'd love to show you next time. Elaine sips her wine slowly, hearing her mother's voice ring not as a demand, but as an invitation. That night, after the cleanup is finished, Elaine goes up to the attic. Not out of fear this time, but for confirmation. Same place, same box. But the contents are different. New Orleans cookbooks, letters from Martha, decorations she chose herself, all filled with her own choices, not borrowed items. She puts a new label over the old one, Elaine's Treasures. A year ago, the empty box reflected my emptiness. Now, the filled box tells of my richness. Love with boundaries feels different. Steadier, cleaner, more real. Looking around her filled living room, Elaine knows the truth. She isn't the same woman who fled last Christmas Eve, and she never will be again. But more importantly, neither is her family. They've all learned that the price of admission to someone's life isn't paid in demands or expectations, but in respect, reciprocity, and the courage to change.